Hi there, greetings and salutations. My name is Jake Query. That's Derek Schultz. You smile, Derek. Thank you. This is Query and Schultz on the ISC Sports Network, and of course, it is presented by Bailey and Wood, the best, of course, in mortgage coverage throughout Central Indiana. Really, Southside based, but serving throughout Central Indiana. And Derek, in addition to that, one of our other fine sponsors. I want to start with this. I got to thinking about this. I had what the kids call an epiphany.
Okay.
Over the weekend. Saturday afternoon, I'm out running errands. You had texted me, and of course I knew about this, but my days all run together, about the competition at Hoagie and Hops.
Hoagie eating contest, yes.
At 42nd and Boulevard, right?
42nd and Boulevard, yep.
42nd and Boulevard.
Southwestern Midtown.
This was, of course, a fundraiser that they do at Hoagies and Hops to raise money for U.S. veterans. Raised over $2,500 for
Hoosier
them.
Vets, actually, so right here.
And Hoosier Vets,
yeah.
Okay. So I got there just after it had started. And then, we're sitting there and we're hanging out afterwards and we're having, a beer from Chili Water and everybody's just kind of hanging out. And then it dawned on me, like, we make a lot of fun of this show. I mean, this show is terrible, right? I mean, we both know this, right?
I disagree with that, but go ahead and continue because I think I'm going to agree with your thoughts.
I believe you're the one that's called it the dumb show.
Continue.
Or dumb show.
Awesomely dumb.
Okay.
I guess I would say.
Well, either way, it was super cool because I'm sitting there and I'm like, we got Darren from Stewart Tire down on the south side. He's been great to us, but we've gotten to know Darren from the show, right?
Yeah.
And he's sitting with Greg Poley, who, of course, we know his whole family, and we've gotten to know Greg from the show. And then, now, this part bothered me, but you signed an autographed picture and you personalized it, which goes against everything you stand for.
Yeah, for our buddy Nate Felix.
Yeah, so, but Nate's there. So you get all these people that, and not only that, but they're friends with each other, right? They're all talking, they know each other. And then
Christina takes her car to Darren now because of
Christina
the show.
And I'm like, you know what? It is cool how this show has brought those people together. But more so, Hoagies and Hops just embodies all of that because you have all these people now that are – Christina's more than just a sandwich, connoisseur and a fabulous restaurateur, but she's just a friend of people, right? Yeah. And people have gotten to know her and gotten to know the restaurant because of this show and other areas, obviously, because it's fabulous. But – I just thought it was a super cool event, and kudos to her for putting it on.
Yeah, and it's in all seriousness, people have kind of asked me, and I'm sure they've asked you, what motivated you guys to kind of keep the show going? Like Jake's back on the radio again, right? You don't necessarily need this show. I don't need this show necessarily. I have a full-time job and all of that. I have other things that I'm involved with. And the biggest thing for me, besides the fact that we're best friends, the other thing that really motivates, I think, both of us, I'll speak for you when I say this, to keep this show going, is that's what it's always been about. It's been about those relationships.
Oh, for sure.
This isn't a show where 10 million people watch this show, and we're not doing it for clicks and hits and to, our LLC bank accounts. We're doing this because I love to maintain those bonds, not only with listeners and viewers, but with these great sponsors. Even the ones that aren't with us anymore, Jake. Think of all the friendships and relationships that have been spawned from KSR, Keystone Sports Review back in the day, or Whiskey Business when we used to do live shows there, or the Slippery Noodle when we do the Q95 pregame show there. It's been 13 years of this. So that's why it was important to me to kind of keep this going back in, God, it's hard to believe it's been 3 years here on ISC in 2020.
This is episode number what? Do we know?
152? 153. Wow.
Really?
Indiana
was number one in 1953. Slick Leonard, 2 free throws. 69-68 win March 30th of 1953 over Kansas at Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City.
The Colts aren't number one, but they did get win number one.
That's right. They're 1-1. Knocked
off the Texans. With us moving the show to Tuesday nights to accommodate Jake Query's busy schedule.
That's right. We got to talk about that, by the way. I'm taking another bite.
We kind of felt like, and you guys can tell us on the YouTube channel or, via Twitter, X, whatever, if you disagree with this. We feel like we're only going to every single week kind of briefly give our thoughts on the actual game, because by the time this airs on Tuesday nights, the game's already kind of been dissected and talked about and chewed up and spat out. Obviously, it was important to get a win. I think it was important, Jake, for the Colts to clearly be the better team. They were clearly the better team on Sunday. And say what you want about Houston. Houston, right at that moment, was probably the worst team in the league, given their injuries and their offensive line and all of that. But still, it's good to beat on a bad team, and I think that's what the Colts ended up doing, and they made a statement immediately. They got on top of them right away and never let them up.
The offensive lineman for the Texans, really good player that was hurt. How do you say his first name?
Titus?
Well, Tunsil.
Oh, Laramie?
I also thought it was Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
On the broadcast, they kept calling him Laramie Tunsil.
Oh, is it Laramie?
I think it's Laramie, but either way, Tunsil.
Or is it Laramie like the cigarettes? Laramie cigarettes? I never smoked Laramies, but I don't know if they still exist, but they were
Laramie's where University of Wyoming is.
Yeah, there were Laramie cigarettes. Different spelling. Laramie, I think.
What sort of degenerate tobacco and I worked in a tobacco store for 8.5 years. You name, Ramsey's cigarettes, sold them. Rothman's cigarettes, sold them. Dunhill cigarettes, sold them. Nat Sherman cigarettes, sold them. Gawaz, sold them. Jetons, sold them. Players, sold them. DeMoye, sold them. What the hell
Laramie
are you talking
cigarettes
about?
were a brand of cigarettes that were in the United States in the 30s into the 1950s.
What sort of tobacco degenerate connoisseur do you have to be to know that?
Smoked menthols, I was in it all the way. I wasn't just smoking to smoke.
Guess.
I studied tobacco history. I studied tobacco issues, like what was happening with lawsuits and things like that. So I have a lot of general tobacco knowledge, not only smoking tobacco, but also chewing tobacco and other areas
What
of
about
the tobacco
Sherbetes? Are you
realm.
familiar with Sherbetes?
Yes. Yeah.
You don't know Sherbetes.
Smoking beaties?
You don't know beaties.
I know beaties.
How do you know
You
beaties?
wrapped them up in the leaf?
Wow.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you. Don't test this when it comes to that. When it comes to putting black tar and carcinogens into my lungs, I am an expert.
Okay. Let me give you the name of the cigarette, and you tell me the country of origin.
Okay, but I want to.
Okay.
Can we move on to the Colts still? Like, I don't want to completely derail the show.
DeMoye.
I don't know the country of origin for things. Okay.
Well, I thought you were like Mr. Tobacconist connoisseur.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. This is what always happens, where I tell you that I'm an expert in something, or that I'm really good at something. I present evidence that I'm really good, or I'm an expert in something, and then you have to quiz me until you get the one thing that I might not know.
Do you know what makes Kent cigarettes unique?
No.
They're organic.
No, I'm not going to answer.
Yes,
I'm not going to answer.
Okay.
So the big thing, the big news from Sunday, obviously, it was a little bit of a bittersweet day because of what happened with Anthony Richardson. So now the question all surrounds, is he injury prone? Does he have to protect himself better? I think we have to be a little careful with how we approach this because Anthony Richardson could slide every time he touches the ball. And that doesn't mean that some fluky thing is going to happen where his neck cracks back and hits the turf. Like, I thought what happened on Sunday was something that could happen basically to him at any time. And if people are asking Anthony Richardson not to run, you are neutering the best thing about him.
Derek, here's the easiest way to say it, and you tell me if you disagree with this. I don't know that Anthony Richardson is injury prone, but the style of play that makes him unique is. He plays a style that is unique. I mean, his ability to run like a fullback, basically, but with tailback speed, that is what separates him from other quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You have to take advantage of that, and you can't play afraid of what could happen from it. But you also have to be realistic about the chance that it is going to occasionally cause him to miss a game here and there. It's just
I think one thing he found out, I don't think he slowed up going to the end zone. I think what he didn't realize was that you've got to take that full speed. You're not playing South Carolina here.
Correct.
And in the NFL, guys are going to take a shot at you to jar the ball loose, and that's exactly what ended up happening. But again, Jake, he ran a bunch in that game, right? That's literally the only hit that he took all day, and that happened to be the hit that hurt him.
All day, he was only in there for 3 drives.
But I'm just saying that, like, this feeling, I think we have a lot of PTSD from Andrew Luck in taking a lot of unnecessary hits. Richardson shouldn't avoid unnecessary hits, of course. But you're always going to be open to something like this happening. This is not something that is completely in your control. That's all that I'm trying to say here with Richardson. So I see some people being like, well, this is going to happen to him all the time. I don't know that. I don't know that that's going to happen to him all the time.
Agree on all. I mean, I agree on all those counts. I just think the PTSD from Andrew Luck is a very real thing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt that
No,
people are like, oh, man,
no
here
question.
we go again, right? The other thing that comes interesting to it, and I've talked about this a lot on the radio, so my apologies if I'm being redundant. I thought Gardner Minshew, Derek, was fabulous.
Yeah.
I thought Minshew's ability to me, the real positive telling point of that game was after Richardson's touchdown, they show a shot on the sidelines, and all three quarterbacks are sitting there, and they're all smiling and laughing and having a good time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a very telling moment because it showed the camaraderie of the room, and for that guy in particular, Gardner Minshew, a veteran who it would be easy to be like, look, give me the keys here. But he goes in when his number's called and played really well. Now, the problem is this, and there's two sides to this. If Gardner Minshew fills in for 5 games this year, Anthony Richardson, let's say he gets dinged up from here and there, and Minshew goes in and goes in for 5 of those games. And because he's a veteran quarterback who's got a nice arm, who puts the ball where it needs to be, who's a smart player, let's say they go 3-2 in those games. So as a result, they go on the year, 7-10. What good's that do you? Is it possible that the Colts, knowing that Anthony Richardson is their future, knowing that they need to do everything they can to build as many pieces around him in all areas as possible, and knowing that it appears to be a roster that is not overly deep, that you accumulate any picks you can, and you say, you know what? If Gardner Minshew is not on this roster, that means the backup is Sam Ehlinger, who is a quarterback that the owner wanted as a starter a year ago. So, if Minshew plays one more game, maybe 2 more, at any point, I don't mean consecutively, but if by October Gardner Minshew has played 2 to 3 games and played well in those games, do you then find the benefit of Gardner Minshew to your franchise to be what he would get back if you were to trade him to a quarterback-hungry team, as opposed to using him to change yourself from drafting 6th to 13th overall?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you always are open to conversations when it comes to that. I wouldn't trade Gardner Minshew for a 7th-round pick.
I mean, but if you could get a 5th-rounder.
Yeah. Maybe. What the value that he also provides is, and I don't usually buy into this, but I do in this case because of the relationship that he had already established with Anthony Richardson. I think part of the value that he provides is also that kind of mentorship with Richardson.
The other thing that he provides, and I will give Jimmy Cook credit because he's the one that pointed this out, and it's a great point. You still need to assess where your receivers are. You still need to find out what you have in Alec Pierce. You're still trying to figure out whether or not you want to, how much money you're going to give to Michael Pittman, which is going to be a lot. You're still trying to figure out if Will Mallory, who I thought, made a couple nice plays.
Well.
Mo Alley Cox, guys like that. I mean, how good is – and I think Josh Downs looks pretty good. But you're trying to develop these receivers. You do need – having a consistent quarterback that can throw them the ball if Richardson's not there is certainly something that Minshew brings to the table.
Yeah, he is the perfect backup. What he did was
He's
exactly
like you, right?
what you want. I'm just going to ignore that. What is exactly what you'd want from your QB2, which is to come in, be sharp, you're in a pinch, and keep the ship steady, keep the car on the road. And that's what he did.
So you don't like being labeled as the perfect backup?
No, because I'm not.
Okay, so
I'm a
QB1.
backup.
Huh?
No, I'm a QB1.
Okay.
RH1, whatever that is. Remember we used to do that on the old radio show?
Actually,
Radio
the two
host
of us
one.
represent perfectly like the Colts quarterback room, right? Anthony Richardson, big, durable, strong, almost unprecedented. Sam Ehlinger, smaller, big heart, but not overly talented, but smaller in stature, but big in bravado. Similar, right?
I think it would be more like Steve Young, Joe Montana. I'm younger, more dynamic.
But I'm Joe Montana.
I should have played earlier.
I'll take Montana for sure.
You had your era, but it's past. I'm talking like in 1993, 94. So like when did Montana play with the Chiefs? 93?
93,
yeah.
I think.
So like 92.
He was good, though.
92, 93 when you're making that decision. When you're like, Joe's hair's getting a little gray. And
are you left-handed, though?
All that. I'm actually ambidextrous.
I don't believe that.
So I could do both. I can switch hit and wiffle ball.
I don't believe that either.
Okay, well, you don't have to believe it. It's true.
Okay.
This is kind of like what we run into on the internet with some other issues of today's world where people are just like, I don't believe it. Well, it doesn't matter. It's the fact. So you can believe whatever you want to believe, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, have your curled up snake, yellow flag, whatever you want. You believe what you want. Let's get to the Ravens as well.
Okay.
Baltimore, 7.5-point favorite. Not really a surprise there. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, you know what you're kind of signing up for there.
Doesn't it feel like Baltimore's one of those franchises, Derek? When I was a kid, the Buffalo Bills were the beast of the AFC East. When the Colts, were so like when I say kid, I mean like high school, early college. And then Jim Kelly retires and Bruce Smith moves on, and so you think like that's it. End of story. No more worried about the Buffalo Bills. Fabulous. And then Bryce Pop comes in, and Cornelius Bennett finds the fountain of youth, and you're like, oh my gosh, these guys don't go away. Doesn't it feel like that's what the Baltimore Ravens are? I think of the Baltimore Ravens as this defensive-laden team because I think of Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. They haven't been there in 10 years. But the Ravens just never completely drop off.
Yeah. I think they're a lot like, and this is, I can't find a great example, but this is one that popped into my head, and I understand that there was an off period in between here. But remember when, you kind of had the bad boy Pistons, and they fell off, but then the 2000s Pistons kind of took over, and those Hamilton, Wallace, Billups teams were, and they won championships just like Baltimore did, but they were just such a headache to play, where you're just like, oh, God, we got to play the Pistons. I feel like the Ravens are like that. The Ravens are just – I think guys wake up the next morning after playing the Ravens and it just hurts a little bit more. You're just a little bit more sore, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They just kind of have that sort of identity.
I mean, it's a big test. Not only – I thought the Colts' defensive line against Houston was fabulous.
Yeah.
Part of that's the O-line for Houston was a sieve, right?
But they were really good against Jacksonville too.
But this is going to be a good test for them because what we see is that they can get some pressure on the quarterback, but what can they do now once the quarterback gets out of the pocket?
Yeah, I think what the Colts have going for them is that pound for pound, their two best players are their two interior linemen. In game one, the best player on the field for the Colts was DeForest Buckner. In game two, the best player on the field for the Colts was probably Grover Stewart.
Yeah.
And that's the strength of the team.
And Quiddy
front
Pace
seven teeth
showed
of
some
the
flashes,
defense.
Derek. I mean,
yeah, but I think the reason why Paye and Ebukam and some of those other guys are showing out a little bit is because so much attention is going into the interior of the line.
Are you worried at all about? And this is unfair, perhaps, to say, because I think that there is the possibility that maybe this guy's the attention on him a little bit is pushing things outward. But I had to look, and I can't be the only one. And I will admit my naivety here.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
About midway through the second quarter, I'm like, is Shaquille Leonard playing?
Yeah.
Is that of concern?
Yes. I think what can give you some solace and help you sleep at night is that while the Leonard contract, I think, ultimately is going to be a bit of an albatross, they've got Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed locked up through 2024 on bargain deals.
You're right.
Bargains. Because those guys are two frontline level linebackers.
You can't help but love both of them, right?
Yeah. I think, Jake, occasionally Shaq Leonard's going to come through on a missed assignment and come through unblocked and sack the quarterback and do what he always does, and fans are going to be really geared up for it. But he's never going to be – I'll say this definitively because it's what I firmly believe. He's never, ever going to be the player that he was before. He just – I'd be stunned if Shaq Leonard ever became the 2019, 2021 level Shaq Leonard. Right. I think he's operating at about 70% at that.
But that's still a pretty good
player.
But
he's fine. Yeah. I think he's been. It's not like he's been bad.
Right.
He's just been. He's a guy that you always notice, and you haven't noticed him through two games.
What's the key against Baltimore?
I think really what's going to be the key for every Colts game is controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides. While we're talking about the defensive line and how that's clearly the strength of the team, I think the offensive line has done well so far. Will Fries has.
Yeah,
come in at guard,
and
which was a disaster.
How fun was it once again when Ryan Kelly goes out, Will French comes in?
Fries, and French did okay, right? He held up his end of the bargain too. But one of the biggest issues with the line last year, as much as we talked about Nelson being banged up and Braden Smith and Ryan Kelly not playing to form, the biggest issue was the fact that they didn't have a right guard that could play. Danny Pinter was awful in that spot. Remember, they kept kind of rotating people in. And again, small sample size, but if Will Fries can be the Mark Lewinsky of this Colts offensive line again, which is really what they've been missing from the 1920 lines, right? I think that line's going to be good again.
Will French, who was the backup center. Ryan Kelly got a concussion as well.
It's Wesley, right?
Or Wesley French,
Yeah.
excuse me. What college? It's our favorite game. I'm going to go with TCU.
Let's see. And he's an offensive lineman, huh? I feel like I usually say Boise.
Okay, Boise State's good.
Yeah,
good
I feel like I usually choose a Mountain West school.
Idaho, also a possibility.
A Mountain West school or a MAC school is usually the good guess for a lot of these like nondescript lineman types.
Do you have Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
I'm struggling here to get to struggling.
Let me scroll down here. Wesley French. No, not Boise, but MAC school, Western Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Fries?
Will Fries.
Fries, I'll go with. Let's see. I'll go with Marshall.
I'm already seeing it here. Oh wow, Penn State.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, good for him.
By the way, Derek, is it time for our hero of the week? Because the
It
sandwich
is.
good.
It is time. Our hero and hoagie of the week and our chili water brew of the week, brought to you by our friends at Hoagies and Hops, who we spent a lot of time talking about at the beginning of the show after their hoagie eating contest, which was won once again by Korn. I heard that Korn is going to retire.
Really?
So he'll give somebody else a chance. He ate it in 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Which is, take this and then add another one and then add another one and then add another one.
Yeah, so
and that's how much he ate. Yeah, 18 inches of Hog Island deliciousness. But still, like I was 3 bites away from being halfway through mine when he ended up finishing. This is the Dutch Country. So Lebanon smoked bologna. I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's a bologna sando. What's the big deal? It's the best bologna sando that you've ever had in your life. And no frills at all. Munster cheese, beer, grain mustard, lettuce, tomato.
Speaking of beer, that chili water hits right there, man. That was good. The Luther Lager, right? Derek has a bad habit of realizing that this is a radio program and a television program.
The beer mustard, a little spicy. A little spicy, too. Just kind of plays on the tongue. I'm actually going to take another bite, if that's okay.
What are we doing here?
I mean, the bread's so fresh. Bread's so fresh on Cisco's rolls.
The bread's so fresh, she's saying. Derek, did you not learn when you were a kid not to talk with your mouth full? Tell me about the beer.
I'm trying to be professional.
Okay.
So the beer here is the Luther Lager. Look at this gorgeous can, by the way.
It is nice can.
Chili Water has the best cans. Actually, I should. They have.
What?
Let's get that in post. All right. 3, 2, 1. Chili Water has really just gorgeous cannery. They they make beautiful designs on the vehicles that hold the delicious beers that they have. Do people still? I feel like that's kind of like a Bob and Tom bit, right? Like cans. Does anybody still say cans?
What grade are you in?
I don't know. Like, just like, man, they've got beautiful cans. But I mean,
Are we in
it's a beautiful
7th
can.
grade here?
It's a beautiful can. Look at this, like, acoustic guitar. Beautiful,
it's
right?
cool.
And there's a story here that Alexis and the folks at Chili Water wanted me to share. So this is a Czech lager, like CZECH.
Meaning from Czechoslovakia.
Sure.
Originally.
It's infused with, I hope I'm saying this right, Sitka spruce offcuts from a custom archtop guitar built at Indie String Theory in Fountain Square.
Very cool.
So this Sitka spruce is a popular tone wood as its lightweight, tight grain, and balanced volume creates the best sounding guitars and great tasting beer. So it just shows it's the can, it's the beer itself, it's Fountain Square, right? It's all these touches, kind of like Christina has with her hoagies.
Right.
That make
You're
it
right,
unique
though.
and special.
You're right. It's a good way of saying it.
Oh, that is good.
Indie String Theory. It's great. It's very
Yeah.
crisp, light. It's great.
Oh, I like that a lot. The problem with lagers sometimes is that lagers can be kind of boring. And
No,
this
that's got a
this
nice-
one,
yeah.
like this is. I don't even know how to describe. I'm usually
wouldn't
good at
say-
describing my palate.
I wouldn't say citrusy, but like light and fresh, crisp.
Crisp is a good word. Yeah, definitely. I'm not getting any citrus notes. Crisp is good. Yeah, but my palate's a lot more better than yours. As you get older, those senses, sense of sight, sense of smell, sense of taste, they start to go, and that's what's been kind of happening.
Yours weren't affected by your long chain smoking of Laramies?
I'm in the health and sexual prime of my life. We've talked about that before on the show. 42nd and Boulevard, hoagiesandhops.com, Chili Water Brewing as well in the tap room next door.
What is your 40th?
42nd and Boulevard. I'm 40 now.
That's right. I wasn't invited to your party.
Yeah, I'll be 41 in February. We come back on the show. College football, huge week for Notre Dame, and Indiana, Jekyll and Hyde. We'll discuss when we return. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Bailey and Wood presents Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network, alongside Jay Query. I'm Derek Schultz. Thanks so much for joining us, whether you're watching on the ISC Sports Network app, maybe you're watching it on our YouTube channel, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, X. By the way, it might be paid. I finally got a Blue Sky member invite, so I signed up for Blue Sky last night.
What the hell is that?
Some other Twitter off-brand site.
So it's not Twitter. It's not X.
No. I've opened up Threads, I think, once in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, Threads is kind of...
That buzzed and then that died pretty quickly there. The Robert Griffin III of social media. Let's talk college football. Tale of two halves for Indiana. It looked like they were going to get run out of the building. Like, I was like, oh, boy, this is going to be a 45-7
Derek,
game.
Bottom line for Indiana is this, though. I'm going to cut you off. Sorry. Yeah, came out, looked terrible against Louisville at the half, came back in the second half, found some life, got some decent quarterback play from Tavon Jackson. But now they have Akron, and they're going to look all kinds of fancy with it. They got new uniforms they're wearing, and it's a night out, and black uniforms or whatever else. It's a 7:30 kick. And then reality kicks in, and they're back to being Indiana, right?
I think, Galen Clavio, our buddy from down in Bloomington, who basically has done an unbelievable job running the sports comm program down there now for many years. I was listening to him on the Crimson Cast, and I thought he brought up a great point, and this is something that he has said before in the past, is that I think that game was a great, is it Rorsch test? Is that the ink blot thing? Is that what's a Rorsch test or whatever? You know what? ROARSC. See, this is the thing. Galen's like an academic, and we're two idiots. But
right.
It's a great litmus test. How about that?
Okay,
for
I know that.
How you feel about Tom Allen. Because if you're pro Tom Allen, you exit that game saying, hey, I love their fight. They obviously have talent. They're not bereft of talent. They've got talent. Tavon Jackson's talented. Some of those players, those transfers on defense are really talented and good players. But if you're anti-Tom Allen, you say to yourself, they mishandle every single critical game situation, him and his staff. I mean, they're one of the worst. He has to be one of the worst, in-game tacticians that there is, right? Because everything, when the game is on the line, always goes wrong for Indiana. So even though you're close, who cares? Indiana's been close a whole lot. They have to get over the hump. It's not about getting close. We've seen Indiana be close.
Derek,
they need to win.
Tom Allen is by all accounts, I don't know him personally. I've talked to him. I know people who played for him at the high school and college level who admire the man greatly. I don't have any doubt that Tom Allen is a wonderful human being, a tremendous charactered individual, probably a good leader of young people that are looking for some guidance in their life. But he's not a Big Ten football coach. Both those things can be true.
He's got this season to prove that he is.
To me, he has the same problem that the other Tom had at Indiana, Tom Crean. And that is that while I appreciate and applaud the enthusiasm and the over-the-top energy, it seems to translate into lack of attention for detail in the preparation and execution of his teams.
Yeah. I think his problem is also a Chuck Pagano problem, where you can't just believe that something is going to happen and then it happens. That's not how life works. You can't just be like, well, my team's going to dig down, deep down, and find something, and then they're going to do it. The situation where they have first and goal with the game on the line, right? Late in the fourth quarter, it's 21-14. They ran 3 times. They couldn't run all day. They got back into the game because they opened things up. Walt Bell and the rest of that group, they opened things up for Taven Jackson, and they put Jalen Lucas in space. They ran 3 times. And when asked about the fourth down play, well, it just didn't work. No, it didn't work because it had no chance to work. But it didn't have a chance to work. It drives me crazy. It's like Frank Reich with the second and longs, running with Nyheim Hines. Football coaches are smart guys, right? They're smarter than me, but they're also very stubborn. And it amazes me how often they stubbornly run plays that just don't have a chance. Why would you donate downs in that situation there and try to run the ball? It doesn't make any sense. Louisville stopped that all day.
To me, for Tom Allen, and again, I want to make clear, I have nothing against the man personally. As a matter of fact, I think he'd be a fabulous next-door neighbor. I think he'd be a fabulous
He's been a great coordinator.
Yeah.
For whatever it's worth,
no doubt. He's a good defensive coordinator,
and he's had some good seasons in Indiana. They give him credit.
But Derek, last year before the Bucket game, there was a video of Tom Allen's pregame speech to his team. And he's pacing back and forth, and he's talking about him, and he's saying all these things, and he's motivated, and he's going on and on and on, and the players are staring at the floor. They're staring at the floor. And I'm like, they've completely checked out on
But clearly,
the mantra.
he does have some guys that buy into that. With his ability to recruit, it shows that there have been – you and I both think it's cringe, but there are some people that really like that. Like sometimes Miles Turner is walking down the Pacers locker room before a game, and he's got like a long sleeve sweater that has sleeves hanging down. I'm like, ugh, what is that? But there are a lot of people that are into that.
Let me tell you where Indiana, to me, has always erred. Do you remember you seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah, that's one that I have seen.
Okay. Mm-hmm. There's a line in it at the end of the movie when Ferris is talking about Cameron, his friend. And he says, and I'll put it in family-friendly terms.
The dude in the Blackhawks jersey.
Red Wings.
Oh, yeah, Red Wings. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, they were in Chicago, so I got that confused.
It's kind of weird, actually.
Yeah.
Gordie Howe jersey.
Yeah.
But he says Cameron is going to end up marrying the first girl that he kisses, essentially, right? Mm. Indiana's done that with football. The first coach that actually, like, gives them a kiss at the dance, they're like, let's get married. Here we go, 10 years. We're going to give you the stadium, 10% of sales. Here's the rock and half of the library endowment. And then they can't get out of it, right? Meanwhile, you look at a school like Colorado, who's tasted success, been in a national championship, won a national championship.
Yeah, won one,
was an it school of the mid-'90s. And then their football program fell off a cliff because their coach left, right? And they've been in the doldrums, and last year was arguably the worst program in Division I. And Colorado said, you know what, enough of this. We're going to get aggressive. Let's go out, $5.5 million, Deion Sanders, you're our guy. And they pushed all in, and guess what? Their ticket prices are the highest in college football right now. They sold $1 million in sunglasses over the weekend.
I saw the sunglasses, yeah.
And
crazy.
Deion Sanders has everybody in the country going to their games and standing on the sidelines, and every college football show is there. And I was all in on it, and I loved the buzz about all of it until I watched the game against Colorado State, and Mark Jones called him Coach Prime 342 times in the first quarter. And I'm like, I get it. You can call him Deion Sanders every once in a while. It's okay. Call him Coach Sanders. Call him Deion. You don't have to say, Coach Prime. Yesterday we were talking to Coach Prime, and Coach Prime told us yesterday in our meeting with Coach Prime that Coach Prime thinks that their fourth quarter defense is going to be important because Coach Prime – okay, I get it. But back to the point, Colorado – was aggressive and took a chance. Indiana's always played it conservative and gone with what was the easy thing. And Indiana football will always be Indiana football until they finally grow a pair and test themselves.
Yeah, but one thing I want to say to that, you and I are both Tom Allen skeptics. I don't think he's the guy, but I am willing to give him this season to show some direction for the. If they go 3-9, then you gotta go. Like you can forgive 2021. You could even give them a pass for 2022. 3 seasons in a row, year 5, 6, and 7 to be in the basement. That's not good enough. But it's really got to come down to, let's assume that they beat Akron on Saturday. At Maryland.
That gives them, Akron gives them 2, right?
Yeah. At Maryland, Rutgers.
Hold on. Let's just go game by game. You tell me win or loss, okay?
Okay.
Read it off and then just tell me in your gut win or loss. Go ahead.
Akron, win. At Maryland,
okay,
loss. At Michigan, definite loss. Rutgers, I mean, the season's going to swing there probably. It really is.
Your thought? Go ahead.
I'll give them credit and I'll say win because they're at home.
Okay.
At Penn State, auto loss. Wisconsin at home. I don't care how down Wisconsin is. I never expect Purdue or Indiana to ever beat Wisconsin. So
Okay.
Wisconsin. At Illinois, win.
Okay.
I think they could beat Michigan State.
Especially Michigan State's in
And then
turmoil.
Purdue, which is a winnable game. It's in West Lafayette. This is the thing, Jake.
So you beat Purdue, you've got 6 wins. Is that enough to save him?
Yes, I think so. This is the thing. Indiana should be able to make a bowl.
I don't disagree with
this
that.
schedule. Indiana,
Right.
like, as much as we talk about the Big Ten East, and even if you take out, they already lost to Ohio State, right? You take out Michigan, you take out Penn State. You should be able to go 6-3 against Indiana State, Louisville, Akron, Maryland, Rutgers, Illinois, a down Wisconsin team, a way down Michigan State team, and a Purdue team that's in the infancy of a new head coach.
How big a disaster is Michigan State right now?
Oh, it's awful. It's just it's brutal.
So he's fired, right?
Yeah. It's just a mess. The truth will come out, right? We hope. It's a very odd situation. I think there are aspects of it that don't quite pass the smell test to me, but a lot of times what happens is that people that are in power think they're untouchable. And you think to yourself, how could somebody do this? And then you realize their mentality is going to be different from what your mentality is.
So my understanding is that the allegation is that Mel Tucker, after all that has happened at Michigan State with the Nassar situation and everything else, and maybe I misread this, you tell me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that allegedly Mel Tucker had a female victim of sexual harassment or sexual abuse come in to speak to his team, and he then
Several times.
and then he ended up having a
Private
inappropriate sexual relationship with her of some sort.
Neither of them dispute that they talked. I think what the dispute is that he says, hey, she was on board with this, and she says, hey, I was not on board with this. What are you talking about? It's disgusting. And I think
Gotcha.
that's kind of where we are. It's very much as most of these issues are, Jake,
Right,
or
right.
a he said, she said thing.
Right.
Let's talk Purdue as well. You can't turn the ball over 4 times and expect to win. Not against a Power 5 team. And I thought
Syracuse, not a bad team.
Garrett Schrader
Good player.
was he was the best QB bootleg handoff faker that I think I've ever seen. Where like he was like a magician with the ball. He would basically hide that thing and then just
Solid player.
run around untouched. But yeah, I mean they made him look like prime Mike Vick in that game. I ultimately think Purdue is going to be fine eventually this season. But I've said this from the beginning. This is probably a team that is not going to look that's going to be better than their record suggests because they've really gone out and challenged themselves. I was hoping they could go 2-1 through the first 3, and they went 1-2, which is disappointing.
Right.
They can't get off the field on 4th down. They've been too sloppy.
That's the thing is for a team built on supposedly defense.
Yeah, and that too. There's just been way too many lapses as far as that's concerned. It's going to be a bit of a process. I'm hopeful they'll get there. I'm hopeful Indiana gets there too. Like the thing is, whenever we kind of criticize Purdue or Indiana on the show, people are like, God, you're being hard on them. I'm not trying to be hard on them. I have expectations that I want them to meet.
You know, one thing I think, Derek, if I had to ask you right now with this college football season, so talking about Purdue and Indiana and just trying to predict where they're going to go. Of the 4 college playoff teams this year, when the 4 of them are getting ready for the semis, what will be the total number of losses represented by those 4 teams?
3.
Think so?
Yeah.
Which one runs the table?
I still think Florida State does. I know they got their test where with a bad BC team. I don't know what they were doing. Everybody screws around in the game. I still think they're there.
You know who they got this weekend, don't you?
Clemson.
At
This is a big week. Oregon, Colorado, Notre Dame, Ohio State. This is a big week.
I think 5. I think there's going to be 3 with 1 loss and 1 with 2.
Okay.
Because it just is I mean, with the transfer portal, I just think it's all over the place.
One thing that gives me some pause with a 2-loss team. Generally, a 2-loss team's. I think the only 2-loss teams have been from the SEC, right? The SEC is not good enough this year for a 2-loss team from the SEC to go.
Right.
It's not a good enough league. Especially with Alabama and Tennessee and some of these teams losing early like they have.
Now, I say this only because Duke has them, for example. Or, I mean, Notre Dame has them. You could easily laugh at the beginning of the year over Clemson laying an egg at Duke, no question. And that's a pretty big error to overcome. But I think that loss is going to age okay.
Oh, yeah. Duke's tough.
Right.
I mean, Duke's probably an 8 or 9 win team, right?
Yeah.
You'd say? Yeah. And Notre Dame's next 4 are really, Ohio State, at Duke, Clemson, at Clemson and USC, right? That's our next 4.
Man, if they make it out of that, Derek, they're home free.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think they could survive a loss at that point and still make the playoff.
Well,
yeah.
the thing that hurt, this is what I've said about.
They're not going to run the table.
This is what I said about Clemson losing to Duke. Notre Dame needs Duke to be strong because they need Clemson's resume to be impressive in order to bolster them in case they lose one of those 2 against Ohio. Let's assume Notre Dame beats Clemson, right? They need Clemson to hold serve the rest of the league and beat Florida State so that Clemson has a little cachet about them, and that goes in the good win category. To offset, that gives them margin for error against either Ohio State or USC.
I just think this game against Ohio State, there's just, I know it's the regular season. It feels like there's just a lot on the line for Notre Dame. They're at home. They have the better quarterback. This isn't just hey, Notre Dame needs 100 things to go right for them to have a shot to win this game. This is a game where you can approach it and say, this is a coin flip.
To me, it's like Gargoyle versus Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
Oh, yeah, you're right. These are probably the 2 programs you hate the most,
correct.
right?
That is correct.
I just think you can I hate doing this, but the 2020 win at Clemson, it was COVID. They got they got DJ instead of Lawrence, right? Like, it didn't feel like this major breakthrough. Last year, we knew Clemson was a mirage. Last year when they were undefeated and came to South Bend and lost. And Notre Dame's season was they had already lost 3 times, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
So it didn't have the same. If Notre Dame beats Ohio State here, it will be, I can't even remember the last time that they had a regular season win of that magnitude. The last time they had a regular season game of this magnitude was probably USC in the Bush Push game. And that was 20 years ago.
I was there.
2005.
Yeah.
That's when you got assaulted by an old man in the
That's
usher.
right. A 75-pound liver spot.
Jake was cheering loudly for Matt Leinart and USC.
I was not. I was
and
covering the
Reggie
game
Bush.
for Channel 6. I was objective.
And he loved
I'm
it
gonna
because
sue.
he hates Notre Dame.
I'm getting on the elevator
Hates
after the
him.
game, and this little 75-pound liver spot in a sweatshirt that says God Country Notre Dame pushes me in the chest and says UCLA is going to kick your ass. I'm like, the hell did I do?
Would you love that play?
Sure.
It's good to love that play.
I love
because it's
that
college
Bush
football
very
related. God bless college kickers. People say, well, college kickers. Well, this college kicker kicked his way into history. Congrats to Harrison Mevins? Okay.
Hold on. I don't even
No,
know
it's
this, so
anything.
I got to guess the school. You tell me, and then I'll tell you
Oh,
the
you
school.
didn't see this? Yeah. Harrison Mevins.
Okay.
Bombed. Absolute bomb. 61-yarder. SEC record.
Well, you told me the conference.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
SEC.
Yeah.
I'm going to get 2 hint questions, and then I'll figure this out. You
We have
ready?
a limited amount of time here, but
No, we don't really.
got about
Okay. Is this school a typical football power?
no.
Would this school academically have admitted me?
No. No, not at that time. Probably wouldn't have admitted me.
Are they good at basketball?
Oh, I didn't know he's an Indiana native. This kicker's an Indiana native. Here's what I'll answer that. They are fine in football. They are fine in basketball. Completely unremarkable, rarely bad, rarely great.
Have they won a national title in basketball in my lifetime?
No.
Mississippi State.
No, but you're on the right track.
Not Ole Miss.
I mean, Mississippi State basketball, though, has mostly been
Same with Mississippi. So
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
Mississippi
it's not Ole
either.
Miss. Yeah, It's not.
I would have said Arkansas, but
It's
they
not
wanted
somebody
to.
anybody. I still mentally don't think of them as an SEC school, and I probably never will.
West Virginia.
No, West Virginia's in the Big
Oh,
12.
that's right. Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri. Yeah,
I did know that.
Missouri. Harrison Mevens to beat Kansas State. How about this? It's actually not
Wasn't West Virginia in the SEC for like a week?
Supposedly. So this is an SEC record. It's not a Missouri record.
Really?
The Missouri record is 62 because they were in the Big 12 when that happened. But a 61-yard field goal. How about that? I love that play. 353-2141, love-HVAC.
Love Heating and Cooling, by the way, family-owned business, over 100 years in business. 317-353-2141 or love-HVAC.com. Great customer service, great product, and commitment to that product, including 24-hour on-call maintenance. Lot to love about Love Heating and Air.
Got Byron Bull Bleep, got some quick hits, and plenty more to get to. Stay with us. It's
We got to
Corey
get people
Schultz,
signed up at Broadmoor, too.
ISC Sports Network. We're going to do that next.
Okay.
IUPUI basketball is back. Come witness history with head coach Matt Crenshaw inside Indiana Farmers Coliseum and head coach Kate Bruce inside the Jungle as they usher in a new era of Jaguars athletics. Be there for exciting Horizon League and in-state matchups. Affordable fun for the whole family. Full season tickets are now on sale starting as low as $80. Order today at IUPUIJags.com/tickets or call 317-278-2530. Work hard, make noise, have fun. Go Jags.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned, and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.
Welcome back. It's Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network, presented by Bailey & Wood Financial Group, 353-2141, and BAWFG.com.
Look at how beautiful that is behind
Financial
you.
Group. Oh, yeah, and Broadmoor Country Club. I want to mention that as well. We've got the club head here. You got the bag, right?
Yeah, it's fabulous.
The bag right there.
Beautiful bag.
Second century of golf for Broadmoor. 200-acre Donald Ross designed golf course, plus tennis, pickleball, pools, and dining. It's funny because I got a call from my lawyer, and you usually don't want to
You
get
have
a
a lawyer?
call. Yeah. Usually don't want to get a call.
What?
I run my own business, Schultz Media LLC. I have to protect myself against lawsuits and stalkers and all kinds of
What
stuff.
lawsuits would you have, and what possible reason would you need
When
for
you're a
lawyer?
public figure, I can't believe that you don't have one, because I know your cachet level is a little bit lower than mine, but you should absolutely have a lawyer.
For what?
For anything that happens. I guess you don't have to worry about it as much because you're 51 and single and you still live by yourself. But for me, I have a lot to lose. I have a lot on the line. So anyway, my lawyer calls me.
What are you,
Josh?
Are you running around
And
starting fights and
I'm in the
stuff?
car
What are you-
yesterday. I think I was picking up my son, and I'm in the car. And I'm like, God, why is Josh calling me? And I can't pick up. I don't have my AirPods or anything like that. And he leaves a voicemail, and I'm like nervously listening to the voicemail, and I hear the tone of his voice, and he's excited, and he's like, dude, you guys and Broadmoor are linked up on the show? Like, we got to play. I love Broadmoor. Come on out anytime. Let's play around. And so I think I'm going to go play golf with my lawyer at some point. You don't golf at all, right? So you had never have?
So basically, you're playing miniature golf.
No, I'm playing real golf, thanks, with my lawyer.
But when you play,
I might have the whole team come, and we could just do a foursome of golf together at Broadmoor.
the whole team.
My team. So I have a lawyer, Kirk, my accountant, and then my stylist is Carly. And then we could all play golf at Broadmoor Country Club. You don't have a stylist? I mean, clearly.
459 Barber Lounge.
That's kind of a silly question, I guess, right? Because you guys can kind of see that for yourself.
I'm an endorser of 459 Barber Lounge. Thank you very much.
BroadmoorCC.com.
Broadmoor is fabulous.
Call our friend Kara.
But it's more than just golf. I mean, it's an entire country club.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
Dining,
a really
fabulous.
great place. Events, you can book your next event there. 317-251-9444. 251-9444. Learn more about how you could save major money
No
on membership
dues
and
until
initiation
December,
fees.
Derek.
Well, but there's a caveat there. You have to mention ISC Sports Network or Corey and Schultz.
Okay.
And no dues until, what is it, December?
251-9444.
No dues until December.
If you are listening to this on podcast and you're like, I meant to write that number down, in 30 seconds, I'm going to repeat the number, which is 251-9444, but I will repeat it to you in exactly 30 seconds.
Good deal.
Go ahead, Derek.
So I got to return Josh's call and let him know that we're going to play around over there
There's a glare
at Broadmoor.
here, and I can't read the second hand on my watch.
It's time for Chateau Kitchen's Buy It or Bull Bleep, brought to you by our friends at Chateau Kitchens. I was just in Chateau Kitchens yesterday and met up with Steven and Megan, the designer, who's always great with us as well. And
251-9444.
went to their showroom up in Carmel on Main Street in Carmel. I think is it Main Street or is it Carmel Drive? I always get those two roads mixed up. Carmel Drive's different from Main Street, right? So I went up Range Line and then I took a...
Which one? Statues, no statues.
Took a right. I don't know.
Statues are on Main.
No, then it's not Main.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think it's Carmel Drive. I'll look it up to be sure before the end of this. I'm sorry for
Good
flubbing
preparation.
this up. What we do with Chateau Kitchens, Buy It or Bull Bleep, and what you can do with Chateau Kitchens is anything on the interior of your home, kitchens, bathrooms, basements, chateaukitchens.com, at Chateau Kitchens on Instagram and Facebook for before and after pictures. I give a statement, Jake and I go back and forth whether we buy it or it's Bull Bleep. You ready, Jake?
Yep.
Statement numero uno. C.J. Stroud will be the best quarterback from the 2023 NFL draft class. Buy it or Bull Bleep?
I think actually that could be Anthony Richardson. I do like Stroud a lot, though, but Derek, I worry about his weapons around him. They could not protect him. He still threw for 384 against the Colts, and I think he at times showed precision accuracy and good decision-making. But I'm going to say at no fault of his, I will say Bull Schultz, because I just don't think that he is going to have the franchise to be able to do that.
He was my favorite in the class.
Yeah.
It was close between him and Richardson, but if I, gun to my head, we did this on the show, who would you pick? It would be Stroud. And look, 2 games is a tiny sample size. I'm going to say Bull Bleep just because I'm on the hope train, baby. Like I'm all in on the Richardson stuff. Let's go. Chug, 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 chug away. Not just the chug on this, but chug on the train, too.
Luther Lager here from Chillywater.
Back on the hope train. Statement 2, this was an ugly injury on Monday Night Football. If you guys saw it, they didn't even show a replay, but you could hear the Pittsburgh crowd. Nick Chubb's injury actually shows why the Colts are right to not invest heavily in a running back.
It's a great question, Derek, because it showed 2 things. The injury, unfortunately, to Nick Chubb increases the value of Jonathan Taylor if you were going to move him, because there are going to be teams that now need a running back because it shows how volatile that position is. But it also shows how easily you can lose something where you would be giving a big financial investment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Jonathan Taylor probably on one hand is like, see, that's why I want my money. And the Colts on the other hand are like, see, that's why we're not giving you the money.
It's both sides, right? I mean, it's the great example of
it is a fascinating
where
debate.
both are. And I don't mean to be insensitive about the injury was devastating. It's awful.
The problem for, and I'm not saying that there's probably not a running back in the league that would merit first round or high draft capital, but Cleveland doesn't have any to give.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're kind of stuck, unfortunately. And you know what, Jake, if Watson is not going to be great, that's a big problem for them. Like they're not.
They gave a lot of money for him.
They didn't get Watson to be okay. They got Watson to be a superstar, to be what he was looking like he was being in Houston in 2018 and 2019, and he's not been that so far. So, yeah, I mean, I buy it too. But again, you can kind of see both sides. Statement 3, the fall season, apple orchards and hay rides are the most overpriced family entertainment. Buy it or Bull Bleep?
I can't speak to it.
Yeah, it is.
Now,
it's like it's a stack of hay, guys. I have to pay $10 to sit on this.
The haunted house stuff is fun. I mean, I
hate it.
All of it.
I hate it. Hate.
Now, I got up at 4:00 this morning.
Well, let me tell you why I hate haunted houses first.
Well, I know why, because you're a wuss.
No, that's not why. I don't understand people who enjoy to the point where they will pay to be scared.
You're not scared, though.
I hate being scared.
You're entertained. It's not scary.
Stuff jumping out. The ones where people touch you, I've actually submitted formal complaints before. I do not want to be touched. This is not – you could do the waivers for strobe lights and darkness and sounds. Do not touch me physically. Don't do it. I don't know you. Even if I did know you, I probably don't want you to touch me. Don't jump out and touch me. One time somebody grabbed me. Like, I mean, it was the 80s. It was before, like, this stuff was regulated.
Regulated.
Yeah.
Josh was on the case.
1989, Monroe, Connecticut. And it was at the Freak Show. It was in a Dairy Queen parking lot, and they had set up a temporary haunted house, and it scarred me for life. I was 6. So it was my son's age, basically.
Okay.
Horrible. All right, go ahead. Why'd you wake up at 4 a.m.? Because we care all about what Jake's doing in his life.
Well, you asked me. I said, man, I've been up since 4. You're like, why? When I was in the 8th grade, Derek, do you remember books that, like, you read in school that you just remembered forever?
Yeah.
Give me one.
I remember reading Where the Red Fern Grows.
Okay.
That was a big one. That was the one where the dog got rabid and they had to shoot the dog, right?
No, I think it's Old Yeller.
No, that's Old Yeller had the same sort of thing too.
Sounder?
I remember Sounder. I remember Shiloh.
Don't remember that.
That was another book about a dog.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead, continue.
So when I was in the 8th grade, we read, as I think most people do at some point in school, The Diary of Anne Frank. The Diary of a Young Girl, I think is what it was called, but it was The Diary of Anne Frank. And it captivated me, not only because of the historical and tragic circumstance of it, but I became like fascinated by like where, if that happened here, like where would I hide? Where would I sleep? Where would, looking at places and trying to figure out. And it's always intrigued me, always fascinated me. We are going, as you know, Derek, I'm taking a trip at the end of October. It's basically the first week in November, to Amsterdam. 3 different places, but Amsterdam, one of the places we're going. And you have to, so I wanted to buy tickets because you can go through a guided tour of Anne Frank's house.
I would 100% do
Correct.
that. Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I appreciate your understanding there, because you can only buy tickets one place, and that's online from the Anne Frank house. That's it. You can't buy them from tour groups. You can't buy them anything else. The only place you can buy them are from the house online. But as you can imagine, it's not a huge spot. So the tickets, you have to buy a certain time. You get like 1 hour, and you buy it like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever. But you can only buy them online 6 weeks in advance from when you're going to go. So the week in which you're going to be there, they're on sale for basically a week, beginning 6 weeks before you arrive.
Or else you're SOL.
And now this is a little off-peak season, so you get a little bit more of a window. But in the on-peak season, usually that entire week sells out in on average, 18 minutes.
Wow.
So I got up. They go on sale every Tuesday at 10 a.m. So I this morning set my alarm for 4 a.m. because that's 10 a.m. in Amsterdam. And at 4 a.m., my alarm went off, and I woke up, and I had the page ready to go. And bada boom, bada bing.
You got them?
I got them. I actually, you're going to think I'm crazy here. I bought 2 different days because I bought them. We arrive in Amsterdam on like a Tuesday. Yeah. So I bought them for Wednesday. And then just to be safe, I bought them for Friday as well.
Cool.
Just in case, something happens, we get travel delayed.
Sell them on the black market, yeah.
No, I would. You can't do that. That's what I'm telling you.
You stand outside and you hold 2 up. Yeah, absolutely, you could do it.
No, you can't do that. It's all online. It's QR codes.
Well, I don't mean actually hold physical 2 tickets. People don't really do that anymore. You just hold up your phone.
But how do I transfer?
Who needs them? Hey up. Who needs them? I got 2.
Derek, I don't mean to be flippant. I'm all about making a buck on an opportunity, right? There is something that feels a little greasy about scalping tickets to the Anne Frank house.
See, I just have a business mind. That's just how I kind of operate. And if you already bought the tickets, you already went on the tour, you're not using these ones, give somebody else the opportunity.
I would tell you this, and this is probably what will end up happening. I'm assuming that we're going to be able to go on the first day that I bought the tickets.
Yeah.
If we do that, then I probably will, in fact, go to the area the next day and at the time allotted, go to someone and say,
"Yeah, hey, do you
listen,
want?"
I bought 2 of them.
In all seriousness, that's something that I would do. I have a historical fascination with that, and it's very moving to be
totally
in places.
And I actually think, like we're doing so I told Shannon, I'm like, let's just do it on Tuesday when we get there. Well, we have an evening bike tour already arranged, And she's like, Jake, I don't want to go from the Anne Frank house right into a bike.
I hear you.
Which
yeah.
is probably
you need time to. We did that with the
Decompress a little
9/11 museum where we were like, let's clear the rest of the evening because I need some. We both need some time to kind of process what we were seeing. We come back on the show. Final break. We got the IUPUI Jags report.
Heck yeah.
Do we have time for quick hits if they're very quick? Okay, we do have time for quick hits. We'll be back with that to wrap up next. Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
IUPUI.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Back for a final time. It's Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. Got here some of our IUPUI gear because it's time for our IUPUI Jags report.
Now that I'm officially cat dad, Boo, Derek, Boo sleeps like this, by the way.
Aw.
Paws on either side.
Yeah. That's real sweet. My dog will not sleep on me. He only sleeps on Ashley. He only gives kisses to Ashley, even though I walk
He loved me. You
feed
remember?
him, take
You remember
care
you
of
were
him.
training him, Stranger Danger, and you had me come over, and then you had to call somebody else because he just
The trainer said, who's the most annoying person that you know? Call them and have them come over because we're doing a training exercise. And I said, it's Jake. And my dog barks at anybody who comes in the house. And
Except
Jake
for
comes
me.
in and he's like, oh. He's like rubbing up on you and all that. It was awful.
It was awesome.
Time for our Jags report.
Derek's like, no, Oliver, you're supposed
It was
to be mean.
horrible. The trainer was like, what's the deal here? You guys are best friends or something? IUPUI Volleyball knocked out 2 in-state opponents last week, beat USI. They beat ISU. Is that, it flipped around, right? USI, ISU. Ava Harris, Kate White combined for 26 kills against USI. Team notched 59 against the Sycamores. They're 6-5 on the year. They begin Horizon League play this week. And congratulations to Grace Perica. She is your Horizon League Player of the Week in volleyball. Men's soccer had a shutout win. Got 3 full points with a 1-0 defeat of Robert Morris. Lucas Moorfield registered his 9th career clean sheet. Good for him. They're 2-0 in Horizon League play so far. Their next game Saturday at home
I
against
love that
Oakland.
they're in the Horizon, by the way.
Me too. It's great. Women's soccer, pair of draws last week. Northern Kentucky, Cleveland State, 1-1, 2-2. Next home game is Thursday against Detroit Mercy. And the IUPUI men's and women's cross country hosted the Jaguar Invitational. Nate Kaiser clocked in a winning time, 24-17. Wow. Beating the closest competitor by 15 seconds. IUPUI had 7 of the meet's top finishers, and they won the meet for the men.
Most importantly, Derek, if people around the Indianapolis area want to go watch Division I athletics, do so at a great price. They can do so how?
IUPUIJags.com/tickets.
Okay.
And we're right around the corner from basketball season, man.
Yeah.
Coming right up. We're like 6 weeks out. Basketball tickets are coming on sale soon. We will let you know when that happens. IUPUIJags.com/tickets. And the actual home openers, both teams, are November 6th. So thanks to our friends at IUPUI. Time for quick hits. Very quick hits. Jermaine O'Neal feels disrespected for the number 7 jersey. I think he wants it retired. Pacers have kind of set that standard. Mark Monteith said that they did a Ring of Honor at one point and it didn't work, so they didn't take it with them to MSA. I feel bad for J.O., but I think it just kind of is what it is. He is never going to be like a warm and fuzzy remembered figure.
He was a very good
era.
player. He was a very good player that I think has been exonerated for his role within the brawl, but just the manner in which his career ended in Indiana with a lot of, not holdouts, but just injured and kind of sulking.
But where I connect
Good guy,
with him,
very good player.
Where I connect with him In the 40 years that the Pacers have been, 45 years that the Pacers have been in the NBA, he is unquestionably one of their 3 best players of their NBA era. Reggie Miller, Paul George, Jermaine O'Neal. 6-time All-Star. He's the only Pacer to ever make a second-team All-NBA team.
Danny Granger?
He finished 3rd. Oh, he was a better. Jermaine O'Neal was a much better player than
Billy
Danny
Knight?
Granger. Yeah, better than him, too.
Clark Kellogg?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Kellogg just didn't have enough of a
Rick
sample
Smits?
size to go for. Yeah, he was a better player than Smits.
Okay.
I mean, Jermaine O'Neal, Jake, at his peak was one of the 10 or 12 best players in the league for a couple of years.
That's fair.
But, again, the era is just not ever going to be well remembered. The Brady Bunch house sells. Did you see this?
$6.5 million, something like that?
No, that's what they wanted for it. It sold for 3.2. They wanted 5.5. Somebody renovated it to make it exactly like it was in the show.
The Brady kids did for the HGTV.
Yeah.
I've been to the house.
It's in North Hollywood. They actually added 2,000 square feet of additional space to it, and the new owner plans to use it for events and not live in it.
That's pretty cool.
Which is a good idea. It's
pretty cool.
Good idea. Thanks to all of our great sponsors, Hoagies and Hops, IUPUI, Chili Water Brewing. I didn't even see where we were on time. Do we need to stretch this out a little bit more, or are we okay?
No, because I got to go.
Yeah, okay.
We
can stretch it out a little bit more. Chateau
tired.
Kitchens, Bailey and Wood Financial Group, Love Heating and Cooling
Chili
as well,
Water.
and Broadmoor Country Club. Yeah, Chili Water too. Here,
251-9444.
close there. There we go. And they're telling us we got to stretch this out a little bit more. So, how's everything going? How's the radio show? Is it good? I feel like we don't talk as much as we should. You called me the other
just
day.
talked
but
for an hour.
I would rather talk every day.
Okay. Well, let Josh
That's
know.
usually my expectation.
Have Josh call me. How's that?
Well, he's not my secretary. He's my lawyer. I don't have an assistant yet.
Do you
but
know
I
where?
should get one.
Did I already mention where we're going on the trip? I mean, I know I said Amsterdam and then down through Belgium, but you know.
No, in the 827 times you've brought up your vacation overseas, you've not
I'm
mentioned
super excited because
specifically where you're going.
We're going to Luxembourg.
Okay.
You know why?
To say that you went to Luxembourg?
Yeah, Shannon said, "Why are we going to Luxembourg? Nobody goes to Luxembourg." And I said, "You just answered your own question."
Don't they have like incredible castles and stuff
Yeah.
in Luxembourg? Like that's what I always.
It's
thought
also
that I
the
heard.
economic capital of the EU.
Per capita, more than anywhere in the world, it's the richest place
think that's right.
you could ever
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think
is
that's right.
Luxembourg? Where is it? It's between Switzerland and something.
I mean, I'm pretty European naive here, but so you have
Denmark.
okay, so you have Holland.
Okay. Yeah.
you
Netherlands.
Go,
yeah.
Then you go down.
Yeah.
Belgium.
Okay.
Belgium is kind of in between Germany,
Yeah.
France.
Okay.
Luxembourg's right below Belgium.
Okay.
And then Switzerland comes down.
But it's like this big, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like the Rhode Island of Europe.
Oh wow, Rhode Island's a great
It is.
state.
I know.
Underrated state. as
Luxembourg's
well.
a fairly underrated country. You know?
Anything else going on? You good? You feel good? How's the health? I gotta ask you. You're old now.
Good. I'm back on the horse running.
Okay. I never feel like we've ever filled time on this show, but now we've still got like
We don't
30
have-
seconds.
we don't know how to do
Anything
it,
else
though.
you want to tell me?
Well,
How
no,
you
I
feel
mean-
about me or anything else?
No,
No?
I'm
Okay.
good. And I don't care about anything in your life, so that's
Well,
the hard part.
that's kind of hurtful. Even if I know you're kidding, because obviously you call me all the time. But yeah, that kind of hurts me a little bit.
Okay.
Thanks to Vince. Thanks to Rakestraw. Thanks to Jordan, I guess, if he's still back there for Jake Query. I'm Derek Schultz. They're saying it's okay now. We can go. It's Query and Schultz.
Okay.
ISC
They gave us
Sports
permission
Network.
to leave. Great.
Sorry, that was weird.
IUPUI basketball is back. Come witness history with head coach Matt Crenshaw inside Indiana Farmers Coliseum and head coach Kate Bruce inside the Jungle as they usher in a new era of Jaguars athletics. Be there for exciting Horizon League and in-state matchups. Affordable fun for the whole family. Full season tickets are now on sale starting as low as $80. Order today at IUPUIJags.com/tickets or call 317-278-2530. Work hard, make noise, have fun. Go Jags.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.
Throw it up for Tillman. Whoa. My goodness. 120 22-6-0 for Penn.
What a swim!
6 of them.